And we're back. Here we are, episode... Oh, shoot, dude. What number is this?
I think this is episode 7, if I'm not mistaken.
7, yes. Yeah. A film about the 7 deadly sins. Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, David Fincher's best work. Would you say?
You think... Okay, so 7 is David Fincher's best work?
Would you say?
Ooh, that's hard.
Honestly, personally, I might get some flack for this. No. Oh, no, that's a tough one. I personally loved The Social Network the best.
Okay.
Gone Girl is probably my number 2. And then 7 would be my number 3.
Okay, but are you talking... Because there's two arguments here to make, right? There's his best film or your favorite film of his, right?
Social Network is in my opinion, his best film. My favorite film of his would be Gone Girl.
I don't know. I think it's very hard to pick his best.
I think The Social Network would be it. They're all killers, except for Alien 3, apparently.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Just wanted to make sure that we were staying within the. Just want to make sure we were staying within the confines of season 2. Yeah. So how's it going, dude? It's been a while since we spoke.
Yeah. Last week, what was last week's episode?
Last week's episode was The Thing.
The Thing, that's what it was. Yeah.
How could you forget?
Because you hated it so much.
Correct.
And it rubbed off on me.
Yes, exactly.
So I just wanted to eliminate that episode from my mind.
Terminate it even.
Terminated, yeah. No, I'm doing good, man. I a little tired. I feel like been rushing through, trying to finish I watched Terminator Judgment Day. That's Terminator 2. And then I skipped Terminator 3 and Salvation.
Christian Bale?
No. Terminator Salvation is the one with Christian Bale. So there's a third one before that one now, which not good. And then went straight to Genesis and watched that one last
Genesis
night.
Was 2015, right?
Yeah.
And then
last year
Resurgence
was,
or whatever. Salvation? No.
Dark Fate.
Dark Fate. Resurgence was the new Independence Day.
There you go. Yeah,
yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just erase that from our minds.
Absolutely. I actually watched the new Independence Day, but a couple of days ago for the first time.
The original?
No. Resurgence.
Oh, this one. The Resurgence.
Yeah. Jeez.
I honestly can't even remember that movie. I honestly can't.
It's a big joke.
I watched it, but I cannot remember it at all. I don't even know who played Will Smith's son. I don't remember. Isn't he one of the main characters in the movie? That's what I'm saying. It's not even worth it trying to remember.
The president's daughter was the main character in the movie.
Well, I'm saying one of the main characters.
I just remember verbally laughing out loud when the alien comes out of its captivity and speaks through the president.
Yeah, I don't even remember that.
He's strangling the president, and he's like,
"Oh shoot, I do remember that." Why'd you remind me of that? It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not
anyway,
good.
Today we're talking about Terminator. Terminator.
I'm we're thrashing this movie that has nothing to do with Terminator, and technically it's a family member that made that movie.
Your family member?
Yeah, one of my great uncles, I guess, or something like that.
No way, dude.
5 times removed or something. I don't know.
No, shut up. You're talking about Independence Day Resurgence?
I'm not even kidding. Yeah, Ronald Emmerich. His name is Ronald Emmerich.
Are you saying that just because his last name is Emmerich, or because you know for a fact that he's related?
Emmerich's all come. I know for a fact. My grandpa has kind of kept a little sheet, basically that Emmerich came from the German Emmerich, spelled CH. So that's where he comes from. So there's got to be there's some connection down the road.
So this is just supposition. You don't know for sure.
Oh, but he is, dude. I can't say I'm totally proud because he also did 2012, which wasn't good. But hey, he did Day After Tomorrow. That was pretty good.
2012. Right. That was the one with Russell Crowe.
No. 2012 was the one with John Cusack. I love John Cusack, but not in that movie.
And Alice Eve.
I don't know. I don't remember who was in that movie, dude. Woody Harrelson, I think, was in that movie, actually.
Oh, jeez. 2012.
No, let's not do 20.
So today
Terminator.
We'll be talking about the day the Earth stood still.
Oh.
Have you ever seen that movie Poseidon?
The one with Gene Hackman or the newest one?
The newest one.
Yeah, I watched that one. That was trash.
Gene Hackman, that was Willy Wonka, right? Is that right?
Was he in Willy Wonka? I don't remember.
Think wasn't Gene Hackman Willy Wonka?
No, he wasn't Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka was that famous actor from that time, from the 70s and the 80s.
His name was Gene too, Gene Wilder.
There you go. Gene Hackman. Get out of here. All right, let's talk about the Terminator.
All right. Should we just jump right into it?
Well, I feel like I wanted to ask you a question because I feel like a lot of these movies, it's your first time watching in this season.
Just two.
And just two?
Yeah.
Which ones?
The Thing, right?
Solaris. Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah.
Alien.
Most of them, I guess.
Yeah.
Alien, Solaris, Planet of the Apes. Not the Terminator, though. I've seen the Terminator. I'd seen 2001: A Space Odyssey.
And that's it.
Blade Runner.
Oh, Blade Runner. There you go.
Pretty much everything else I've seen. Like everything else we have lined up for the season I've seen.
Oh, okay.
I think this would be the last one that I hadn't seen.
Yeah. So you hadn't seen this one?
No, I have.
Oh, okay,
but
gotcha.
I mean,
The Thing was the last one. Gotcha.
Yeah, The Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've seen the Terminator, and actually, I really, really dig it. I like it.
See, now I'm wondering because the two movies you didn't like this season are two movies you hadn't watched before, but the Terminator you have seen before and you love this movie.
Well, and here's.
But I was watching it and I'm like, if this is, in my head, I couldn't remember if you had seen it or not. In my head, I was like, if Brandt likes this movie, if Brandt hasn't watched this movie, he's gonna hate this movie.
here's what. Okay, we'll get to it, but there's a specific part a couple of times that I loathe about this movie, but overall as a whole, I like it.
Good.
But I should say, I think to our detriment, we might watch these movies too soon before recording them, because looking back on it, I love Alien.
Okay.
I know it sounds stupid, but like,
yeah, hindsight is 20/20, right?
Yeah. Managing social media and like diving into like those write-ups and stuff like that, I start to think about like, oh my gosh, like this movie actually paved the way for like
I honestly was worried knowing that you were doing social media for both Alien and The Thing. I was like, wow, social media for those weeks are gonna suck.
I know. And in the beginning I was like, here's this image, dude. Here's some heartless caption. Like, this is just garbage. But coming to the end of it, like, I really have respect for Alien, and I know that my respect for The Thing will grow in time.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll what's it called? We'll reconvene someday. Maybe at the end of the season, we should just like go back just really quickly over the.
Yeah.
See how they
you didn't like Transcendence when you first saw it.
I still don't like Transcendence.
No, I'm JKing. No,
sidebar. I'm sweating because my wife loves to keep the heater on in the house.
I was going to ask
we're
you.
living in Florida and it's 85 degrees outside.
You know, it's like 20 something here today.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
I was going to tell the listeners, you're in Florida, down in the dirty, dirty South, and I'm in Wisconsin, up in the perky north here.
Perky.
And it's 20 something outside, and you're living inside of a sauna hut.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's crazy.
That's awful.
But we've stayed close through our love for movies.
For cinema, right?
Cinema nonetheless.
Hey, I really loved Terminator as well. This is I think growing up with a dad who likes action movies.
Yeah.
I think anybody would have seen this movie growing up. There's no way. Like,
yeah.
This is one of those like iconic. That's not to say that like, because personally, I feel like Judgment Day is like the quintessential action sci-fi film.
Right.
It's like up there. I probably undefeated in just in like a quick trying to think of like movies that may topple it, but like, yeah.
Judgment Day is when his arms turn into swords, right?
That's the Terminator, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the Terminator Arnold, but Terminator
T-1000 or whatever.
Yeah, the T-1000. There you go.
Yeah.
Swords.
Well, that's the thing.
No. The Thing was last week.
Right. Yes. Thank you for keeping me on track here. But that was the thing. Is like his arms
he had
turned into swords.
What do they say? It was like I don't remember what it was called. poly something,
Right.
polyalloy or something like that. They called it.
Cyberdyne Systems polyalloy.
Yeah, something like that. It's interesting that like. Oh, well, I was about to start talking about Judgment Day.
Oh.
This is not what this podcast is about.
Original Terminator. It just, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You were about to go.
This is James Cameron,
This is James Cameron. This is his first film that he directed that he didn't disown. As in, okay, so a little history lesson here.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready to know if your history lesson is going to be the same as mine.
Okay,
Go ahead.
James Cameron was not like had anything to do with movies, but he just like loved movies and wanted to get into it and break into the industry. And his dad did not believe that. He thought, this is stupid. You're going to spend time doing something going into an industry that's just
James Cameron's dad was Kirk Cameron, right?
No.
Oh, maybe I have those mixed up. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Maybe distant cousins like me and Ronald.
Yeah, exactly.
Roland?
Roland.
Is it Roland or Ronald? No, I don't even remember.
Rolando.
Anyways, so his dad was very scientific, and he loved science and things like that. So he wanted to like do something that would please his dad, but movies really don't have anything to do with it. But he got into the industry by working in a B movie like studio, like where, like for example, Escape from New York. We talked about Kurt
Right.
Russell last week doing Escape from New York. James Cameron was like the matte artist for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was doing a bunch of like set design stuff for that. So James Cameron, he was working for that studio for 2 years, I think, before Piranha 2 came across his radar.
Yes.
And basically what it was,
Arguably his
there
best.
was this, so there was an Italian director, I can't remember his name right now, and he was producing Piranha, but he wanted to actually direct it. It's a big confusion. So apparently, like, the studio didn't want this Italian director to direct the movie because there's just been a lot of bad blood between this director and like the studio.
Sure.
So this director instead brought on, well, it got really bright just now. This director just like brought James Cameron on to direct for him, and so James Cameron went to direct this movie, this Piranha 2, which is a B-list movie.
Right.
And this guy hired him on the basis of like, didn't tell James Cameron this, but he was gonna like direct over James Cameron, like
Sure.
decide to do other things instead of what James Cameron wanted to do, and
Sure.
just like James Cameron
He
was
just
having
needed the name behind it.
exactly, so that he could direct it basically.
Right.
And so James Cameron was like, I am not gonna let this happen, and he didn't want to quit. So eventually they fired him. It was terrible, but they kept the name on the sheet at the end of the day. But basically, he was fired from Piranha 2, his first film, his first directorial job. And so he was like, well, all of Hollywood's small at this time, right? The early
Sure.
80s.
Right.
So, small, right? It's small. But like, everybody knew what had happened with James Cameron as far as like, him getting fired off this job, his first job. So like, nobody was going to hire him. So, and he was having, during Piranha, actually, because he was having such a bad time that he was actually like physically getting sick from
really?
like being anxious and like all this like anxiety that he was having. And there was a night where he had like a fever dream, and the fever dream was this like man was following him and kept telling him, James Cameron, you're scheduled to be terminated or something.
Oh my gosh.
And he was just running away from him in this dream, and he finds this shotgun and shoots this guy, and the guy like explodes, and it's a machine, and the machine keeps coming after him.
Incredible.
So from this dream, he was like, I need to write this down, and he starts like writing the script, and has this like incredible script, but he can't do anything with it because nobody's gonna hire him, and he knows nobody's gonna hire him. So he ends up like getting in contact with a producer who later he married. It was the producer of Terminator. It was Gale Ann Hurd. There you go. Who they later got married, but I mean, James Cameron has married like everybody at this point. He's got like five marriages, I think. It's hard to be married to a visionary,
right?
Anyways, so he gets her on the phone, and he's like, I want to make this movie, but I want to sell the script, but I need to direct it. And that's the only way I'm going to sell the script. And so they try to shop it around Hollywood. Nobody's taking it. Finally, some major studio is like, we will pay you like an extravagant amount of money to buy the script off of you, and you can't direct it. But it was like an insane amount of money that like Hollywood had never seen, that like amount of money being bought for being put down for a script.
Sure.
And he almost took it. He almost took the money. And finally, one of his friends was like, "You can't do this, like, because it may be a lot of money now, but if this movie also like pushes your career forward,
right,
then it'll be millions down the road." So he decides to stick with the script and needs to find somebody to direct it. And finally, he finds Orion, or rather, Gale Ann Hurd finds Orion, who decides to like, we'll distribute, but we're not going to financially back it. We'll just distribute. So he's like halfway there. And finally, there's this, I think their name was Hamdale Studios. Yeah. And he was like, okay, so this is it. Like, if we can't get this studio to, like, back us, then we're done. Like, we've been trying for so long, can't do it. And finally, he had a friend who's an actor. His name's Lance Henriksen, who was actually the officer in the movie that like gets shut up all the time by his captain. His captain just like shuts him down all the time.
Yeah.
So that's Lance Henriksen, and he decides that James Cameron wants Lance Henriksen to be the Terminator when he finally directs the movie. He decides to grab this guy, his friend, dresses him up like the Terminator, puts some prosthetic on him to make him look all cut up and gross, and then they go to this meeting that they were supposed to have with Hemdale, and sends him in 15 minutes before him. He busts through the door, breaks the door down.
Oh my gosh.
And just like scares the living crap out of the entire office. And finally, James Cameron comes in, sits down, and he's like, "Oh, so you've met the Terminator?" And like, so after happened? That meeting, they were sold. That's it. Like they decided to do it just because of that meeting. Yeah, crazy. But like that's big. That's ballsy.
So obviously, Lance Henriksen did not become.
No, yeah. So the studio was like, "We'll let you have the movie, but we don't want a nobody to be the Terminator."
Right.
So they wanted actually originally Mel Gibson.
Right. Yep.
And Mel Gibson was like, "I don't even know who this guy is."
Right. Yeah.
So no. And then they tried to get, who did they try to get? There was somebody else that they tried to get. I know they eventually tried to get
David
OJ.
Bean, the guy who played Kyle Reese. They wanted to be Terminator first.
Did they? I didn't read that one.
And then when they found Schwarzenegger to play that position, they put Kyle as. David Bean as the Kyle.
That might have happened, but I didn't read about that one. But I did read that like Sylvester Stallone. They tried to get Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, really?
And Sylvester Stallone was like, "I don't want to be in a sci-fi film because then I'll be typecast or something like that."
Sure.
And then finally the studio was like, "Let's get O.J. Simpson."
O.J. Simpson, sure.
And Cameron was like, "That's ridiculous. He's like way too lovable." At this time, he was lovable. Before he murdered his girlfriend.
That's all supposition.
Right. Sorry. Anyways, so he's like, "I don't want OJ," but he couldn't see a way around it.
Sure.
And finally, later on, the studio was like, "Hey, for Kyle Reese, we're thinking maybe this up-and-coming bodybuilder turned actor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You should meet with him." So they schedule a lunch meeting, and James Cameron goes to this lunch meeting already knowing like, I'm not going to hire this guy. Right. But I got to play politics. I have to take this meeting. So he goes into the meeting already thinking, I'm going to pick a fight with this guy so that he doesn't want to work with me. And he sits down at this meeting, and Arnold turns out to be like this great guy, and he gets along with Arnold super well. They end up going on like motorcycle like rides together, like just enjoying.
Oh yeah, Arnold loves motorcycle rides.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially in T2, you can tell.
Yeah.
And Arnold actually gives him like ideas for the Terminator. He's like, I don't think OJ should be the Terminator. He's too lovable. It's not going to work out. It doesn't fit his character. I think the Terminator needs to be like a full on like machine. He knows exactly what he's doing with the guns. He has no like emotion whenever he kills somebody. And Cameron is sitting across from him and he's like, this guy should be Terminator.
Yeah.
And he's like, he tells Arnold, he's like, have you thought about playing the Terminator? And Arnold's like, no. He doesn't have enough lines.
Oh gosh.
Because Arnold wants to like be a major blockbuster
Right.
star. At this point, I think the previous movie to this was Conan, and Conan like barely talks; he just grunts. So he's like, I only want to move forward in my career. I don't want to take steps back. And he thought Kyle Reese had a lot more lines. So he was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And finally, James Cameron like ends up sketching his face, and like half of his face is like the machine, and he sends that to his house, and that's what gets Arnold to like sign up to be the Terminator. He's like, all right, let's do it.
So he signed up after that sketch.
Yeah.
And James Cameron wanted to get started right away. Like he was ready to go. And he had only had the script halfway done.
Oh yeah.
So when he hired Arnold to play the Terminator, he was still halfway through production of Conan. So the studio said, he's not done with this film yet. As soon as he's freed, you can get started. But until then, we want you to work on this script, Aliens.
Oh, shut up. Yeah.
So the studio handed him this contract to write Aliens while he was in the middle of writing the rest of the Terminator script.
That's interesting.
So in order for him to get both of those out in the time frame that they needed to be done, he had to write, and what he said was he was alternating nights so he didn't get blocked out on other script. So he didn't get blocked on one. So he was alternating nights, and the only way he was able to get it through was like he had to calculate how many hours he had between working hours of the day that he could write, and he slept an hour a night for that like 6-month period.
That's crazy.
Anyway, all of that to say, Aliens, which you argue is incredible, and
Aliens.
Yep. And you liked Aliens.
I did. Yeah.
And the Terminator were birthed out of this one period.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's crazy.
I mean, they were only like 2 years apart, I think, if I'm correct. If
Right.
I'm thinking correctly.
It's
yeah,
crazy.
that's nuts.
Anyway, I mean, James Cameron, he's a monolith.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't you say? He's an immortal being of his own creation.
That makes so much more sense now. I didn't know that he was writing the Alien script while he was doing this, because I was thinking like it's 2 years between this and Aliens has a crazy set.
Yeah.
Like how was he able to do all that? But yeah, that makes sense if he was already like ahead of schedule basically on Aliens.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the Terminator,
but he wasn't hired as director on Aliens until after this movie came out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's because the studio saw his production on the Terminator, and he had already written the script for like he'd already done screenplay work for Aliens, so they were like, well, we might as well just have this guy do it because he's got this like stock in it already.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, great movie. What else do we need to say besides the history of it, right? Now our listeners
I think we're done.
know. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I love it. What I was gonna say was there's like the endoskeleton scenes alone. To me, that's like. Is
that the part that frustrates you?
No, I loved it.
Okay,
I thought, well, one, there's a little bit of nostalgia because I remember going to like pizza places as a kid and playing on the Terminator, like coin operated, destroy the Cyberdyne systems, endoskeletons before
For
they
me,
destroy
it's
you.
the ride that they used to have at Universal.
What was it?
It was a
the
Judgment
ride
Day
called
ride.
You're Terminated?
No, fucker.
Oh boy.
No, but no, yeah. There's a ton of nostalgia here for sure. There's so much.
It's so funny how a film like this that like honestly it kind of flies below the radar for like I mean it's a big deal like now, and it might have been then, but it's not like the first thing that pops in your mind when you start thinking about like 80s 90s sci-fi, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, I don't think so. It definitely doesn't. It's not the first thing to come to mind for sure.
What's so funny
when you
though
think
is
sci-fi
like,
in that era.
In that sense though, there's like so many like tactile things that came from it, you know, like those games were produced and like the ride and everything.
It's a major
like,
franchise. Yeah,
that's crazy though, because Alien. One would argue Alien is too, but more in a film sense and not as much in a.
No, there are games from Aliens, a ton. I don't know if there are any like arcade stuff, but for sure I could see both ways. I believe there was even an Alien theme ride as well at one point.
Oh, I bet there was.
100% sure, but no, yeah, these two are like major franchises that were birthed somewhat close to each other, because I think Alien came out in what. Was it 79?
79. This was 82.
82
or 84.
And Aliens came, 84. And then Aliens came out in 86. So yeah, so the two sequels to Aliens were really far apart, but so were the Terminator sequels. This came out in 84 and
93, right?
91.
91.
91 was when T2 came out. So
Orion, you said Orion was the production company for Terminator?
Yeah, they were also the production company for
Blade
T2,
Runner,
I think.
and Blade Runner.
Oh, and Blade Runner?
That was
there you
a
go.
pretty quick succession there for them.
Yeah, one right after the other, 82, 84.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
cool. I'm trying to think. I think, did Orion do Running Man too? Was that?
Might have been. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm trying to think because I know I've seen Orion on other stuff, but
I have too. It's one of. I feel like it's one of those. I think they were Tron, if I'm not mistaken.
oh, that would make sense.
I'm not totally sure though.
Yeah.
Don't take my word for it. Platoon. Yeah, Platoon, Dances with Wolves, Amadeus,
Oh yes, Dances
Silence
with
of the
Wolves.
Lambs. Yeah,
Silence of the Lambs. You said?
Yeah, they had some major.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
Major films as well. So.
Dances with Wolves. Yeah, that they won a Best Picture.
Did they? I don't remember.
Yeah, Dances with That's Kevin Costner.
Yeah,
the only
no,
reason I
Best
know that is
Director,
I'm
Best
just,
Picture. Yep.
Elbows deep in Kevin Costner work right now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Waterworld, eh?
Yeah, Waterworld. Yep. I've got Waterworld and heck, what's another Kevin Costner thing? That's it.
Build it and they will come.
All I know of Kevin Costner is Waterworld. That must make
Bro,
him
we
feel
talked
really
about
good.
it, The Untouchables, dude.
Oh, right, The Untouchables, and that's the other thing I was thinking about. Yes.
Hey, I will say
My
that
dad's a big Wyatt Earp. My dad's a big Costner fan because of Wyatt Earp. He loves Wyatt Earp. I don't know why we're talking about Kevin Costner. He's not in this movie.
Hey, I will say that James Cameron is not a good dialogue writer.
Well,
there's a lot of cheese in there.
Yeah, but I'll agree with you. But at the same time, I think it works because the 80s era in general is just cheese best,
You could say that, but I was watching. Did you watch T2 for this as well?
No, I try and not watch anything except for what we're talking about. Yeah. I don't want to pollute my mind.
I'm going the opposite way. I'm trying to fill my mind with everything.
Trying to shove everything in the time you can. You also took in Sarah.
That's why I'm so
Chronicles,
exhausted. Right? No, I didn't. I'm not going to. Although I've heard that it's not bad.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean it's good.
I can't wait to get into the like time signs of this movie.
Okay. So back to the dialogue thing. I could see that when you say like, yeah, it's part of the 80s though, but T2 was in the 90s, and although you may also argue the same point, yeah, it's the 90s though, it's like it's really bad. Like even I feel like he has a hard time with romance, and I wonder where that changed in his filmography, because Titanic's great. Titanic's really good. Like I watched it with my wife a few months ago.
The romance factor in Avatar is good too.
I don't remember now. I haven't watched Avatar since it came out, so
that's probably a good call.
But I wonder if because he did True Lies before that in I think it was 93, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe in 93 was where he started picking up, because 93 is pretty much like an action romantic comedy.
Yeah.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. And so maybe it's there that he maybe makes a change. I haven't seen that movie in a long time as well. So, but
maybe that would explain his relationship problems.
It could be.
Yeah, maybe.
It could be.
Maybe just a dose of therapy for that guy.
It's funny because although you wouldn't think that this movie is the kind of movie that gets like acclaim other than like what it did for the special effects and things like that. But Andrei Tarkovsky loved this movie. Yeah. Let me read a direct quote.
Please.
He says, "The brutality and low acting skills are unfortunate." Chuckle. Like but as a vision of the future and the relation between man and his destiny, the film is pushing the frontier of cinema as an art. Because, like, when I think of this movie, I do not think art.
No.
Not at all.
I don't either. That's funny, though. That's funny.
But, I mean, you could definitely take it that way.
He might be searching for something that's not there, though.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Because, I mean,
maybe not.
When was the... Because I think about... I remember hearing people talk about this, about Terminator 2, specifically, but I think it also goes along with this one, where like you got to think about the time that this movie was released in, right?
Right, sure.
The Cuban Missile Crisis was when? Was it late 70s?
Yeah, I'm
Early
not
80s?
sure.
I can't
I'm not
remember.
sure about that. But.
I don't remember either. But I wasn't alive back then. So. But anyways, I think the whole like in the mind of the public at the time, the whole thing with like nuclear war was very at the forefront.
Sure.
So I think when this movie came out, it was like, you know what I mean? Like it was right there. It's just like in your face. It doesn't really like blunt any of the hits it gives you. It's just like right in your face. Really extravagant about it as well.
Yeah.
So, especially in T2. T2 has like 2 scenes where like you literally see a nuclear bomb go off. Albeit it's in a dream, but still, it's like in your face.
I think I can definitely see now how he would see that. I think if they hadn't included the scenes where there's like a demoralized civilization that's like like living underneath like
the rubble,
then it probably have hit that hard. But I think when people can see it as relatable like that, like something so massive has put people out, I can see how that would be kind of like rattling, you know, like
like I don't know if Tarkovsky, if he were still alive today, looking back at Terminator, I don't know that he would call it an art piece or anything like that. But maybe at the time, it made sense for it to be that. You know what I mean? Like, it just had, like, with everything that was going on, the context of the world, maybe it did push that boundary a little bit.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. You know, I think so far this season, The Terminator is our first kind of, like, sci-fi action movie that we've done. You know, like.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I mean, now we got the laser bullets, like plasma guns, and like robots and stuff like that. And so like
when you think about like sci-fi and future, and when you think about guns, it's like ray guns, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know,
it's funny because what was his name?
Spielberg.
Well, it wasn't Spielberg.
Spielman.
There you go.
Yep.
He even asks Kyle Reese, "Where's your gun? Where's your ray gun, huh?"
Yeah.
If you're from the future.
Well, yeah, it's funny too, because like when Arnold went to the ammo shop, he was like, "I'll take a T400 plasma rifle with
only what you see here."
Yeah, that guy's like, "Sorry, brother, we're all out of those or whatever." Oh, it's funny. Yeah, you know, and I was thinking about it. I don't know if we've seen up to this point even like a weaponized future like that. Like Blade Runner, we see in the future, but it's like a picture of what society will look like then, and it's not like this concept of like
they have flying cars and all that, but they don't have any ray guns
40 years
yet.
from now, our society is gonna be toppled. Like what we're looking at is 40 years from now we're going to be living in dirt, and that's because of civilization of violence rising up, you know what I mean?
I was going to say Starship Troopers, but that came out in 97, so
yeah, I'd be curious if Tarkovsky is saying that, if this was kind of like the first instance we saw of a picture of the future and how it's
like a major player kind of thing.
Yeah, you know, I don't really understand it, how you know, it's kind of like a what's that called when there's a problem and the problem never actually finds a solution, but instead of a solution it just finds a way to start the problem again?
I don't know, some sort of conundrum. It sounds like
it sounds almost as
like
if
a paradox.
It's a paradox. That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
This Sarah Connor thing is a paradox. Because
it's very confusing when you take the timeline of every movie in this franchise. It can get very confusing.
I would even venture to say unrealistic.
Okay, so we're talking about here. I think Kyle Reese even says it in Terminator about how I think she asked him, "Oh, so you're from the future?" And he says, a possible future or something like that. So he definitely right away Cameron opens the door to like alternate realities or alternate basically realities. So it's interesting because you go Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and then you got Terminator 3, which also had a subtitle. I don't remember what it was right now.
Isn't it Salvation?
No, Salvation is the fourth one. I can't remember the third one. The third one was like a female Terminator. I can't remember the name. Anyways,
She'll be back.
She'll be, yeah. And 25-year-old John Connor, not very well acted, if I remember correctly. But anyways, so those three go in succession, and then Terminator 4
Rise
is
of the
also
Machines. Rise of the Machines.
Yeah, there you go. Not good. And then Terminator Salvation with Sam Worthington and Christian Bale. That came out in 2009, if I'm remember correctly. And that one is a continuation from 3. So that's all in the same timeline.
Okay.
And then comes Genesis, and it goes all the way back to Terminator. Totally different timeline.
I see.
Totally different.
I see.
And then same thing happens with Dark Fate. Dark Fate, totally different timeline again.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, so Genesis was supposed to be a reboot, a trilogy reboot, a new trilogy.
They did a bad job.
It came out, and it did I guess so. Like they made money from it, but not a lot. And then something happened with the rights. The rights got reverted back to Cameron, and then the studio that held those rights, yeah, that's what it was. The studio that held those rights went bankrupt. The rights to the movie went back to Cameron, and then Cameron took it to some other studio to try to reboot the franchise one more time, last time, with Dark Fate. Dark Fate came out last year.
Right.
But because Genesis was so bad, even though it made money, it made a lot of money. It didn't make a ton of money, but it made money. But because it was so bad, and people remember it being so bad, I think they were just like, we're not gonna watch another Terminator. It was just 4 years ago. I'm not gonna spend money on this.
Right.
And Dark Fate bombed.
Yeah.
Dude. I think the studio lost like $150 million on that movie.
That's too bad.
So I don't think we'll see Terminator anytime soon.
He won't be back.
Terminator. No,
Right.
he will not be back.
Yeah, I saw Dark Fate, Poopy. I saw not Genesis. I didn't see anything but Terminator 1 and Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah. You've
Yeah.
seen 2 though, no?
Just the one where his arms turn into swords.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep, I've seen that.
And then you've seen 1, 2, and Dark Fate.
Dark Feet 1 again.
Dark Feet.
Dark Feet.
Yeah, man. So it is interesting that those alternate realities exist. But like, you know.
I do know.
It sucks too because when Genesis was coming out, I remember seeing behind the scenes stuff before it came out, and Cameron being like, "This is a reboot, and it's gonna be better than ever." And he put all his weight behind that movie as far as like marketing wise, and watched it, not good. Dark Fate comes out, and same thing. He starts like marketing stuff before the movie comes out. He's like, "This is a whole new reboot. We're starting all the way from the beginning," and not like what? Like
yeah, yeah.
I think if he had maybe directed it, maybe, but I think his heart's so much into Avatar right now that.
Well, yeah.
I
mean, what's that? A 10-year project he's on?
Avatar? I mean, from the beginning of the first Avatar, probably like close to 15 years at this point.
No, but
right?
since production of Avatar 2 started, I think it's 10 years.
It's interesting, though. I'm interested to see Avatar 2. Like, I'm not going to count him out because this guy's been waiting and sitting on this movie for so long because he wants technology to catch up to like recording underwater.
I mean, think about it. James Cameron is the top 2 slots on highest grossing movies of all time until the Avengers came out. But like Avatar and Titanic were number 1 and 2
for the longest time.
Yeah, and then I think now the 2 Avengers, the Russo brothers Avengers, hold the top 2 spots. But
but I mean, I think as far as like a director that has like revolutionized the technology used in filmmaking, this guy's up there.
Absolutely.
Along with, like, you could say ILM holds a special spot there. Then again, ILM did work on Terminator and Terminator 2.
Right,
so
I saw that.
side by side.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because, like, if I remember correctly, James Cameron decided to take a year off from working on Terminator 2 and like starting production on Terminator 2 to make sure that the liquid metal effect on Terminator 2 was going to be good. So he worked with ILM for 1 whole year before production, working on that liquid metal effect.
Yeah.
This dude was like devoted to like making things look good. And then you look at Avatar and what he did there.
Absolutely.
Titanic.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is a phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like,
a
phenomenon.
He's a phenomenal. Yeah. So if that's the case, now I'm gonna work softly into this. But if that's the case, then what's the deal with the part where he cuts his eyeball out? because if I agree with you, James Cameron,
Well, this is his first movie, and he didn't have a big budget for this.
that was rough.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when it comes to aesthetically, this movie doesn't hold up as well as like the sequel to this.
Dude, I agree
Not
with
anywhere
you, but
close.
at the same time, like the endoskeleton in actuality is really cool.
It's really good,
The
but
footage
like
of the endoskeleton when it's like fighting on the battleground is also really cool. Like
really good.
like,
Yeah,
it's
I think
choppy.
I think
and
the
weird.
animatronics are good. I think if we go to the end of the movie when the endoskeleton is coming after them in that hallway.
Yeah.
It's very choppy, and it was incredible for when it came out, but
Yeah.
I don't think it holds up against today's standards.
I think it's
right?
cool though.
No, it is cool. I think it's
cool.
cool. Yeah, and I think it holds like a place in my heart that I don't care that it
The
doesn't hold
only
up.
thing I have a problem with is his prosthetic face.
Okay, so I was gonna say that the prosthetics don't look very good, and you can tell when Arnold's not even underneath the prosthetic.
Right. When it's an
just-
animatronic. That's the
when-
problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's and when he burned his eyebrows off in the beginning, I was like, shoot, like he looks really bad here. But then when
No, but that's because of the it's funny though, because like his hair's nice, he's
Right.
got the eyebrows,
I know.
and then the thing blows up, and then his hair got like seared down all of a sudden.
yeah, that
I was like,
rough.
I don't think that's how it happens
Right.
in reality, but
the
I'll let it slide.
the animatronic Arnold face, the 2 or 3 times that we saw it, those were the only times where I was like, oh shoot, like this
Yeah,
is really
it looks like
bad.
jelly.
Yeah, that was tough for me. But like the arm, his animatronic arm, the endoskeleton, that footage of the endoskeleton, all that stuff, even the Cyberdyne, like in the very beginning when that ship flies around and the surveying ship,
It's got a little bit of a jiggle to it,
Yeah,
but
super cool.
It's very similar to what we saw in Alien.
Here's my
sometimes
thing
with the ship.
And I said this about the Thing as well. Like I see that stuff in Alien, and maybe it's because like the are you talking about when they land on the surface of the planet?
In Alien? No.
Oh, did you
I'm
know
talking
when
about-
did you know when they land on the surface of the planet in Alien, they built that landing module to be like half size of what actual size of it would be?
Yeah, I actually meant to mention this in Alien
They had
when we were
children
doing
be the
Yes, dude. Okay, so I meant to actually mention this in the Alien episode. Ridley Scott got like his nephews to
It's
play like
crazy.
the people in the spacesuits because
Dude.
they were all, it was a smaller scale model.
I read
Especially
that.
the scene with the engineer.
Yeah.
That was also a smaller
Right.
scale model, and it was kids in the spacesuits.
I read that, and then I was like, "There's no way." Like,
Yeah.
I went back and watched it, and I could barely tell.
No, yeah, they did a great job with the scale.
Anyway, I think maybe because in Alien there's not as much color as in this stuff. In Alien, it seems so much more realistic. Like maybe it's not as
you know
drastic
what?
because it's darker.
I think I'm mistaking it. I likened the spaceship in Terminator to the Alien spaceship, but it's not, because we don't actually see what I'm talking about in Alien. But there's a scene in Aliens that
see.
is very similar to the spaceship in this one. Not the spaceship itself, but the movement of the spaceship. It's
Right.
a little jittery.
Smooth.
And I think it's just yeah. So I think it's just like a product of the time, and also Cameron working with ILM. Well, why not?
Well, yeah, I mean that was miniatures work, right?
Yeah,
when
yeah,
that
yeah.
spaceship came in.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I mean it'd have to be. But even then, look at Star Wars from '77. Same theater company, like same production company. Not production, but like set design effects. And
Effects,
their miniature work looks, maybe it's use of grain, it's not as much.
Well, what about that? What's the planet where Luke gets stuck in? The snow planet, the ice
Hoth?
planet. Yeah. So in that scene where he's running away from the what's that
Tauntaun?
at? Yeah. No, he's not running away from
No,
it.
the cave monster.
Yeah, the monster. He's running
yeah.
away from the monster, and like that has like a jittery effect as well. So that is similar to like what we're seeing here.
I
in
see.
this.
I see
You
what
know
you're saying.
I mean?
Yeah.
It just, especially with the scene in the hallway with the endoskeleton coming after them. It just feels very
That felt cool,
almost like
though.
claymation. But I like it. Yeah,
I don't know what the deal is, but like in the beginning it felt dorky, but the endoskeleton thing felt so cool.
No, yeah, I think it's cool. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think when it comes to Judgment Day, though, like the special effects from one to the other just are totally on a different level, and he has a ton of backing in that film by that point. So
Well, yeah, and we see a lot more digital work in that
right,
than we do.
Well, I believe I believe, I may be mistaken, but I believe Terminator 2 was the most expensive film made at that point.
Oh, really?
And then the same thing when he made True Lies, was the most expensive film ever made at that point. So, and then Titanic, most expensive film ever made at that point.
Yeah.
So he just went back to back on those.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, like cheesy acting and writing and like weird effects aside, like it's for sure a good all around film. Like it's not, I don't think it's insane by any means, but like super. I mean, I think it's super good. And
I also love the passion, like learning about this film, how like Arnold wanted to play Kyle Reese, but he was so passionate about who should be the Terminator, and
right.
He just devotes it. Like you can really tell in his character, he's trying to like his best. It's not the greatest because he's not an actor
right.
at this point. Like the guy's barely an actor at this point.
Right.
So
barely speaks English, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy because from this to Terminator 2, his English gets so much better.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure it has to if he's submerging himself in that. Like, oh, hey, another thing I read. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
Arnold actually separated himself completely from Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor.
Oh, really?
Or their actors for the entirety of production because he knew that his role was supposed to be to kill them, and he didn't want there to be a single ounce of connection between them at all.
That's good.
So that he could have like this surface level. I love when I see like dedication like that when we talk about The Thing and how the characters all isolated themselves together for 4 months beforehand or whatever.
It's interesting. So this production was so like they had such a low budget that they didn't have money to pay for like filming like slips, like permission to film in LA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of scenes that they did without permission.
At night,
they just went out and did it. And James Cameron, there was a scene with the scene where Arnold breaks the car window and then steals the car. It's towards the beginning of the movie. That scene was done without any kind of like permission, and it was just him and Arnold, and Cameron just took like a little like home video recorder.
He
didn't even it wasn't even a film camera, like a proper film camera. He just took a video recorder from like home and shot that scene. And Arnold, it was actually like a real car window. It wasn't like a breakaway glass.
Yeah.
So Arnold was a little bit like worried about that, and he's like, "It's funny. You should watch. You actually put me on this." But there's a podcast called Blockbuster.
Yep.
And on season 2, it's basically, how would you describe it? It's like a theater show in a way, right? Like there's real actors voicing real people. Basically.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So it's the story of James Cameron on season 2, and they got an actor playing James Cameron, an actor playing Arnold, and all that stuff. So in this podcast, there's a scene in episode 2 where it's the story of James Cameron, and these actors playing James Cameron, there's an actor playing Arnold, and they're talking about Terminator in this episode, and Arnold. They're playing out this whole scene of like how they did the scene, and it's just James Cameron and just Arnold, and James Cameron's like, "Okay, Arnold, just go over there and punch through that window." And Arnold's like, "Is that breakaway glass or is that real glass?" And James Cameron's like, "We don't have time for this. We don't have a permission. Like, go, just do it." So,
whose car was it?
It was his car. It was James Cameron's car. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, just some random car in the parking garage.
Yeah. They took the car.
It's funny you say that because the same thing actually happened when they shot that scene at the end. When they shot that scene at the end where Sarah Connor's driving away from that little grocery store or the gas station. They didn't have licensing or permission to be out there either. And they actually got pulled over.
Oh, what?
Yeah, they were filming it, and
were they actually in Mexico or were they still in the States?
They were in Utah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But they got pulled over, and apparently they had like a significant production, nothing huge, but like the swing arm to be able to get
crane,
that aerial shot,
yeah, all of that.
And the officer was like, "What are you doing? Like, do you have a permit to be out here?" And he's like, "No, sorry." It's like, it's just we're from the city. My son, he's doing this like
student film.
Yeah, just a student film. And luckily, it wasn't Sarah Connor actually in the Jeep. It was her double. So there was no like tells, and nobody knew who James Cameron was. It wasn't like the police officer was. And he's like, "Oh, okay, no problem. Like you guys keep up at it." But yeah, it was funny because
that's funny.
You were saying that like the lack of permits or whatever, but. what I was reading was they had to film a lot of that stuff at night because of that.
Right.
Because it was so. The majority of what they got was at night, and there's only like 1 or 2 daytime scenes at all, and it's when like Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese are in the hotel was one daytime scene, and then there was some other scene that they filmed in the daytime, but everything else had to be done at night.
It's
because
interesting
of that.
because like the whole pitch that James Cameron was trying to do with this film, he had an agent whenever he got the Piranha movie, the gig, he had an agent for that, and when he got fired from that, he tried to bring the script to this agent, and the agent just like wrote him off, and he fired the agent. But in that pitch, he was trying to tell the agent, like, this is going to be made super low budget because it's in LA. It's in the present. We don't have to, like, it's not in the future. There are only a couple scenes in the future. So the majority of the film is all going to be here in LA. And this time, we don't, it's all going to be low budget. But, like, when he says low budget, he really meant it because they don't even have money for permits. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but they did a good job with budgeting that film because ILM did a great job as well with their stuff, with their effects, everything.
Yeah.
For what it is, it's incredible.
I think I agree. I think for what it is, it's incredible. I think it's really good and fresh, I think, for that time. Like, I mean, especially us now going through like classic sci-fi, this would be the bookend for like not time travel as a whole, but just like carrying a task from the future to the past. You know what I mean?
Right,
like that whole concept. And
it's not. Go ahead.
That's where it gets kind of wonky about like Kyle Reese being John Connor's dad. Like,
well, it's interesting because John Connor knows that Kyle Reese is his dad, and so he knows he's gonna meet Kyle Reese in the future.
I see.
So that's why like Kyle Reese has that picture, is because John knew Kyle Reese was his dad. So he gave him that picture so that he would fall in love with his mom before even meeting her.
Right, okay. That's all exposition we find out in the next movies.
Well, I mean, they kind of give you, like Kyle Reese says in this movie to Linda Hamilton, John Connor gave me a picture of you once. He says that in this movie, right?
Right, yeah.
He says that I came back here for you because I love you. I always have.
Yeah, but what he was saying was, what I felt like he was saying was like, and maybe that was because for Sarah Connor, he didn't want to like weird her out too much. But what I felt like he was saying was, John Connor gave me this picture, and since then I have loved you, but I didn't really know why. Like I loved you.
Oh, I see.
Based off how I felt about your son and this picture. Like,
well, that's all inclusive, right? So I think it was just like the fact that this legend, like Sarah Connor is this legend who taught her son how to fight. It's funny because it is a paradox,
right?
Because she never would have learned how to fight. Like when she's learning how to like make that bomb, those pipe bombs, like that's because Kyle Reese is showing her how. So I'm sure she taught her son how to make those things.
Exactly.
So it's a full circle. It's interesting because in Terminator 2, it's funny because John Connor in that film even mentions, because you watched it, so you know, like she's in a psychiatric hospital and all this stuff.
Sure.
And she's crazy or whatever. People think she's crazy because of the future talk. And her son is telling the Terminator how like she always shacks up with a bunch of guys who she thought she could learn something from. So it was always like these military guys. So like she knows, she like all she is doing ever since the end of this film is just like preparing her son. And preparing herself for what's coming.
Sure.
So it totally changes her life, like this whole character. So it is definitely like a paradox.
Yeah.
John doesn't send Kyle Reese, and then she dies, but also like she never would have learned how to, even if she didn't die.
Right.
And then there would be no John Connor.
Funny. It's funny.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool little mind bender if you think about it.
Yeah, I dig it. I mean, by no means is it like you said, acting is subpar at best, and like even storyline plot development's not like crazy, but what it does give us is really good.
Right. But this launched careers. This launched James Cameron into the stratosphere. This launched Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Linda Hamilton,
he was doing some things with,
Linda Hamilton, this was her first thing.
No, I don't think it was her first thing, but she hadn't done anything like this before, you know?
Sure.
It was all like really smaller roles. I mean, Arnold, like after this movie came out, all he was like an action star.
Right.
His career was built off this movie pretty much. So it's pretty incredible. And I don't think it's just us looking at it from nostalgia, because when this movie came out back then, I have it written down somewhere. Hold on. Here, it made $78 million off a $6.4 million budget.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is akin to like some of those really, like Paranormal Activity was made on like $1 million, I think it was, and it made like I don't know how many hundreds of millions.
Right.
You know, so it's similar to that, and obviously there's inflation and all that stuff, and it's different in.
It's different.
It's a lot different, right? Paranormal Activity is not great.
It's different. I mean, something like
Paranormal Activity
Project
also
X even would be like, I'm sure they made just a butt ton.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, it's geared toward like a younger audience too, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude. I think it's good. So what are you watching now?
Oh, I finished Hereditary.
What'd you
finally
think,
finished
dude?
Hereditary. I actually finished it a few minutes before we hopped online here.
What'd you think?
So I stopped watching it because it was late at night, and I watched it in broad daylight, and it's still terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying for sure. It's terrifying for sure.
It's good, man. I think it would be a great movie to talk about because there's a lot in there.
Yeah,
there's a lot. It's so much more than just a scary movie.
That's why, and I keep telling you that. That's why I appreciate it so much, because it's like anybody can surface level watch Hereditary and say,
it's scary as hell, dude.
It's scary. It's a scary movie, but dude, it is so much more than that.
It is, yeah. Also, man, I was blown away because I was watching it. And the end, the way everything lines up with like everything that was peppered out throughout like the film, just kind of like these clues that were hinted at throughout the entire film, dude. And like I didn't even see it coming when it came to the end. Like honestly, I was like, "Holy crap, this is."
Yes, dude. Yes.
Yeah. No. It's
the ending
whenever people say like I was scared
shitless,
I understand.
Absolutely.
I was pretty close to it.
Dude, what did you think about Gabriel Byrne? I think he just rips in this movie.
I actually think he was I just don't feel like I got enough of him.
That's
like
the point of his character.
I don't think he got enough to shine. Is what I'm saying. We could talk about this whenever we do an episode on this, but I really do think that like I almost feel like he was kind of like strung out a little bit.
How do you mean?
I just mean like I don't think that there was enough for him to do.
I think that's the point.
I almost felt like I was like, his performance was taken away from me in a way.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I think what makes the film, his addition to the film in general is the idea of kind of like even how he doesn't intervene in that dinner table setting where Toni Collette and Alex Wolff,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
The whole point of this dynamic is that.
No, I agree. He plays that very well, and I totally get where you're going, but I'd be interested to see if there's any cuts that were made to the film where like
he just didn't live up to it.
No, like cuts to his parts.
Oh,
that
took
That's
away.
What I mean. I just feel like there's not enough of him in the film.
I see what you're saying.
Like there's not enough to grasp. I feel like what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, incredible. I loved that. It's interesting because the relationship between all the family members are pretty interesting because it almost feels like Toni Collette's character. What was her name? I don't remember her name. I don't know, but she almost feels like an outsider within her own family,
right?
In a way.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I think what they were saying was they like I think that's because of her relationship with her mom. She was so apprehensive to have any sort of relationship with her family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
oh my God, dude, that scene with sorry, I interrupted you, but that scene where she walks into Peter's.
Oh boy.
Where she's dreaming, but like you don't know that she's dreaming until after she wakes up, and she walks into Peter's room, and like from one cut to the next, like they're drenched in water. Well, not water, but like lighter fluid. Oh, bro.
Yes.
That tripped me out because I was like, wait, what's going on? Oh my God, no.
Yes, dude.
It's very well done. It's very well crafted.
You get it though, right? You get my passion about it.
No, I liked it a lot.
It's crazy.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
But it is one of those movies that's like, I don't know, dude. I don't know if I want to watch that again.
No, yeah. I mean, it's a heavy hitter. Like,
yeah.
would you ever casually want to watch it again?
Yeah, casually, I don't know, dude. Maybe
knowing how much weight it carries.
Maybe years from now.
Yeah.
Like I think I could like sit back and watch.
Here's the thing, like after I watched it the first time, I also felt that way, but then Ari Aster released Midsommar, and I thought to myself, like Hereditary is his directorial debut.
That's incredible.
He's made 2 films.
Well, apparently, like he's got like 10 screenplays that he wants to film.
Yes.
So
he's made 2 though, and Midsommar and Hereditary are the 2 that he's made.
Dude, this guy's got a sick like family history or something.
Yes. And that's what I was saying about we were talking about Kubrick's original work, and when we talked about like it's either Clockwork Orange or Eyes Wide Shut, and if those are
either
his
one of
original
those
pieces, like what the hell is wrong with that guy? People say that about Fincher all the time. Like Fincher's mind has to be broken in some way to make something like Seven come to light or Gone Girl. You know what I mean? Like those are pretty dark, heavy pieces.
Yeah, but those like Fincher's not a screenwriter, right?
Right.
So he just gets what he finds.
Yeah.
But it seems like he searches out the movies that like are intentionally very dark and very somber.
I would encourage you to read Ari Aster's origin and the purpose behind these 2 specifically. Like he knows that horror draws people in, but now what's he gonna do with it? Like he wants to hook those people, but
I've heard some interviews of his on the A24 podcast.
Yeah, he did that one with Robert Eggers, which is that was when my flame was ignited for those 2. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah, it's good, man, and it's funny that you mentioned Midsommar because like the same feeling I got from Midsommar, I got from this.
Absolutely,
it's like it's very identical in like nature itself.
Yes,
the nature of the essence of the film.
2 completely separate themes, but you leave feeling challenged by the same concepts.
Yeah,
like that sense of family and that sense of relationship, but like swarmed and just like hammers to the face.
We got to do a horror
absolutely
season,
we do. This is just another platform for us to say, get out and vote, people. Like we're gonna be putting up a poll, and next season we can either do the top films of your hosts, or we can do modern day horror. We're talking Jordan Peele, Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, just insane stuff. I watched Ex Machina last night.
Oh, hey.
I got home from work because lately I've been working
Happy
nights.
birthday.
Yeah. Lately I've been working nights, and I got home and I was like, I can't really sleep, and I'm really feeling like, dude, I do not remember the last time I watched Ex Machina, but last night I think it was the best watch I've had.
Oh yeah,
I love that movie. Like
I watched it recently in the past couple months.
The build up for the first 90 minutes is so slow and intentional, and the last 15 are so quick and like thought out, well laid out punches. It's like you spend this 90 minutes developing relationships with characters. The cast is so small. The budget was incredibly tiny. I think that movie was made on like $10 million.
I don't doubt it. Yeah,
nothing.
I mean, is it an A24? Yeah, it is A24.
Yeah.
That's another thing I really love. A24 is just like putting out bangers, and it's
on
interesting because
nothing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think A24 will ever be like a big budget like studio ever, like in their films. Like I don't think they're ever gonna like put out a ton of like a movie with like $100 million, $200 million, and all that. Like I don't think that's where their like their bread and butter is. You know what I mean? Like it's just like everything they put out is like is that kind of thing. It's like it's got sort of an indie feel, but an incredibly huge
impact.
Yeah, it's like it almost seems like every film they put out is like the passion project of their director.
It is,
you know what I mean? Like,
and that's their platform. The platform of the A24 podcast is, or not podcast, production company is like, we're gonna hire directors who you know that there's a visible passion about what they want to make, and I think they're able to produce it at such low. Like think mean, these people aren't developing these massive stacks of cast members. Like we're talking about, Hereditary has at most 5 cast members.
Yeah.
Besides extras, I guess 6 if you include the grandma. Midsommar has that village of people. Like the lighthouse dude, 3 people. 2, the mermaid, 3, 4, and 2 lighthouse people. Like.
And then the 2 extras that brought them on.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I completely agree, and I think that's why
Ex Machina.
That's why 3. I have a devout passion. Yeah, exactly. 14 total people.
Oh, including like the extras in the beginning of the movie.
The office workers were like 8 of those people. Yeah. So it's like, I think that's why I have like this deep endowed passion towards A24 as a whole. Like I'll swear by anything they put out, because I know that what they're doing is they're coming alongside the directors to say, we see that you have something you're passionate about. Now here's your means to make it happen. Yeah.
I'm really excited for The Green Knight.
Yeah. I'm bummed out that it's been postponed so much, but
that looks so interesting.
Yeah.
So intriguing.
Yeah. They've got Green Knight, Saint Maud are the 2 that are like on the forefront of coming out, Mm-hmm. I think Robert Eggers has a 3rd one coming out, The Norseman. I think he was slated for mid-2021, but I'm not sure if that's still happening.
Yeah, that's also very interesting.
Yeah.
I have no clue. I mean, there's nothing that's come out that I feel like has given any kind of idea to what the plot is about, but A, Eggers, and B, Norseman. Like, just that is like, is it a Viking story? And if it is, I'm all for it. If it's not, I'm still all for it.
It's evident just based on his work that we've seen that period pieces are his strong suit. You know what I mean? Like so far what we've seen, he speaks from what he knows, and like folklore is his bread and butter, and like The Witch and Lighthouse even to an extent.
The Witch or The Vitch?
It's Witch made out of 2 V's. But those are both like stories that he heard growing up as a kid, or renditions of it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that he wanted to get out on film. And like,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Where The Witch was filmed was like a few miles from where he grew up in like New England.
Yeah, it has very much like a feel of like a Salem witch trials. Like I feel like,
Yeah.
It's got that New England vibe to it.
Yeah, dude. I'm all about it. It. And Yellowstone. We're Have you heard of Yellowstone?
Yeah, Kevin Costner.
Taylor Sheridan, dude.
But Kevin Costner's in it, right?
Yeah, he's in it. But Taylor Sheridan.
No, I love Taylor Sheridan, dude.
It's phenomenal.
He's Taylor Sheridan's incredible. What was that movie with Ben Foster?
Hell or High Water.
Hell or High Water.
Dude, Ben Foster's best performance, IMO.
Yeah.
I think that's his best performance.
I agree. Hands down.
Also,
and then
Big Lebowski. What's his name?
Are you talking about Jeff Bridges?
Yeah, he's in Hell or High Water.
I thought you were talking about the director.
He
or
also
the writer.
slaps, dude.
Oh yeah, in Hell or High Water.
But Wind
Taylor
River.
Sheridan. What is
Wind River?
Wind River.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that movie blew me away.
So this show is basically Hell or High Water and Wind River smushed together and then stretched out over 3 seasons.
Huh.
Like the family development alone in the first 6 episodes we're in now, it's just ridiculously.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch that one, but I just haven't had the time to.
Yeah, it's hard too because it's like a Paramount original and you can only watch it on the Paramount network. So you have to like either buy the seasons or have Paramount streaming service. But yeah, super good. So next week we're doing Dune.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Or Denis Villeneuve's Dune.
No.
No, David Lynch's Dune.
David Lynch. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get some more. So I'm about maybe a little bit less than halfway through the book right now.
Oh, nice.
I was reading it before Villeneuve's Dune came out, but now that's postponed for a year. So
right.
You were reading it too, weren't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got about 6 pages in, so I'm making my way downtown for sure.
Yeah, I'm a little less than halfway through. I'm gonna try to get a few more pages in before we record that next week. That'll be fun. I've never watched this before, so
really?
I'm really, really interested, really intrigued.
Yeah.
I've heard that it's not that great, so I'm already walking in with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should though. Like I
It's
want it to
David
be
Lynch,
good,
dude.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what worries me a little bit. I'm not the biggest David Lynch fan.
What, dude? Have you seen Mulholland Drive?
I have. Oh, I actually mentioned this to you because next weekend, a local theater is gonna have like a David Lynch weekend going on, and they're playing Dune, they're playing Mulholland Drive, they're playing Eraserhead,
Twin Peaks,
all those like biggest hits. But that'll be after we already record. So unfortunately, I won't get to watch it in theater. But
you'll just have
to
slide in there for Mulholland Drive on the big screen.
Possibly.
Yeah. You know who would love Mulholland Drive? Manu.
No, she would not.
That's right up her alley.
No.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll do Dune next week. We're super excited
tune
to
in
do
for
that.
that.
Yeah. But yeah, join us in social media on our Anchor platform, wherever you guys get podcasts. Leave us a review, rate, but like jump on that poll. We'll have a poll coming out soon if it hasn't come out already.
2_35 media on Instagram.
We're going to be polling for next season. The two options right now with a little bit more exposition than what the poll's going to be. The poll will probably say our favorites or modern horror. But it's going to be our top 3 or top 4 each stretched across the season. We just go straight into a deep dive on each of those. Or just like we were talking about, modern horror that we see today, directors who have revolutionized the genre, like Ridley Scott's Alien.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So join us. Let's keep the conversation flowing. Until next time.